Hey everybody, Todd Michael Putnam here, founder and admin of D&D Creative Table Designs. And over the years, I've gotten a whole lot of questions about storage and the way that I do storage for my setups. You guys have probably seen a number of my setups across various Facebook groups or on Instagram. And invariably, I get questions on how do I organize everything? How do I find the stuff that I need to use in order to build my adventures the way that I do? So we're going to do a quick video, and I have just one small room that I have all of my storage in. It's a spare bedroom, and I will go through and let's take a look and see how I organize everything, and you can check it all out. So the lighting is not super great on all of this, but this first shelf that we're going to take a look at here, as you walk straight in from the room, this is basically my shelf of everything that's either very rare or too large for storage or too fragile for storage that'll get knocked around too much inside some of the cases. So, and it's a variety of different things. We'll start on the top shelf here. Of course, we have like a big Tiamat dragon, and I've got a clockwork dragon and all kinds of drakes. Over here, I've got this big hill giant guy that I recently got done. He looks fantastic. Or not hill giant, excuse me, mountain giant. And then I have stuff like this, which is not a miniature at all. This right here is actually an incense holder. This is where I cast a really wide net in order to help tell stories. This is an incense holder, but it's perfect size that you can actually put 28mm minis in there. And so I use him basically as Charon on the River of Styx, and it works beautifully. Can't say that I've been upset with the way he's turned out. So a large blue dragon. This big guy here, Death, is just something I got off Etsy. Much larger than any of the minis that I have, and the reason for that is because Death is so much larger than life, and it just gives an overall pall of things when you look at a set of 28mm mini next to a guy that large, and you realize that you have no leverage over Death. He is so much larger. But that being said, going down to some of these other shelves, and I apologize for the lighting here, it's not super fantastic, but this just going through here is basically just minis of various types, most of them giants, large trolls, multiple multi-headed hydra ones that I have, fire elementals, earth elementals, all that other kind of stuff. Some large treants that I have here. Boy, I don't think the light's going to cover that very well. My frog hemoth that was in one of my most recent builds. And just a variety of absolutely crazy things. That white spider one that's in the middle right here might be a little hard to see. That one there is actually from Star Wars, but I think it's called the White Knobby Spider. But there's that. You can see I've got one of the giant purple worm and stuff. But basically anything, a kraken down here, anything that's too large in order to fit in regular storage, I put in this shelf. Or if it's just too fragile or it's rare, anything like that, I tend to put on this shelf right here. We'll back it up again real quick. And that's just for quick and easy grabbing, but also for safe storage, and generally makes a great display. Then what we move on to is where we start getting into the large bins over here, and you'll see that they're double stacked back, and I label them for the most part. So these down here are literally 50-foot cliffs, and they are the Game of Thrones wall display. You can find those on Etsy, or not Etsy, but eBay or Amazon. Game of Thrones, the wall display, and they basically turn out to be 50-foot tall clips. So I had them repainted up. They look great. This right here, there's all desert stuff in this box. And this one over here, it's all ruins and stuff. This is a secret box. I can't tell you what that is yet because my players haven't seen it. This is a box full of just clouds and stuff that's basically just doll filling. And then over here, this is all autumn stuff. Most of that is from Monster Fight Club. Love those guys. Just repainted some of them so they have some different fall foliage type stuff. Works out great. This one right here, everything to do with graveyards is all put in this one little box. My flight stands are all put in a box. And then a whole bunch of other different things from Aztec and other basic types of tiles. Unusual tiles are there. Switch back over to here, and then like this top one is all Dwarven stuff. So here's, just to give an example, I'll just take this one box out because I can't do all of them, but we'll pull this one box out. There's stuff there I probably shouldn't show too, but for example, we'll pull this one box out, and you can see this is all Dwarven stuff. Like, here we go. These are stands for if they're doing any kind of mining or something like that, all rickety mining stands. Inside of here, there's all kinds of stuff for like beer breweries and things of that nature. Giant dwarven thrones and stuff are all in here. So just stuff like that, and it all goes in one box. I'm trying to work the camera and do this at the same time. I'm not a cameraman. So, and just put them all back there. This one here is all Dwemer stuff from like Skyrim. I have all kinds of stuff for like Dwemer things. Over here I've got the one in the back is all Mind Flayers. That's what that one is. This one here is all Feywild stuff that I've got painted. This much bigger box over here, if we pan back, there's all Cityscape or Towns 1 and 2. These two big boxes right here filled nothing but buildings from Zitterdes. You can pull those out. The next one underneath it is all filled with desert terrain. And then underneath that is all stuff from the Underdark. So that's just all piled up basically, and they've got they're all labeled, and it's all categorized. So if I'm doing a certain build, I know exactly which box to pull, so I can have the terrain that I need for that type of environment. And then we switch over to here, and we'll see in a couple other pieces of environment across the top. I've got a sky dock that I use, and then I've got this huge guy here, which is also from Zitterdes. And that's basically a big castle piece, all solid castle piece. It's fantastic. Love that thing. And then underneath this, these are all of my minis, or the remaining part of my minis. And if I'll pull it back here so you can see the shelf itself. So I can only go back so far because the room is kind of small. But the ones on the top left that you see are just medium-sized minis. The ones on the top right are a little bit larger, and then everything underneath that is like your really large minis type. And once again, they're all done by category. So like, you know, the one on the left here, animals on one side and aqua creatures on the other. Humanoid type insects on one side and other insects on the other. So we'll pull this one out just for the heck of it. We'll take a look just so I can show you once again. So on this side, we have all kinds of insects. So everything that just basically looks like bugs, right? And Ankeg and Kirin, or whatever they're called. Not Kirin, Three Kreen, I think it is. A whole bunch of spider webs and webbed up victims and stuff like that. Types of abominations, webbed up guys and spiders there. So that's all on one side of insects, and then humanoid-like insects are on the other side. Other insects are on the other side, where I've got like giant ants and stuff, and things from Dwarven Forge, from the Kree colony, a bunch of different spiders. It's all there in the box on one side or the other, and I just know all I have to do is grab the one that I need that's labeled and pull it out, and I have exactly what I need. Same thing, I've got a box for exotic and miscellaneous, things that just didn't fit in anything else, it'll go there. Another one for like Yuan-ti and lizard folk, and then various reptiles on the other side. This one here is for like Underdark, that's on both sides. And then I've got boxes here for like spell effects and medium snake monsters and horse riders and wagons, and the Slad and Celestials are in another one, and then medium humanoid monsters and, you know, medium monsters miscellaneous that are in the bigger ones. So, and that's what those are. These ones here are all two-sided, and all the rest of them are just one-sided. It's only one side that's filled with those larger creatures. And then I go to the much bigger boxes here, and like this one whole box is filled with players. So obviously all the players, I don't have that many players in my campaign. I've only got like 6 players, but this particular box is filled with minis that would be most likely to be used by players separated by male and female, and then also whether they're like stealthy leather type rogue type ones, or whether they're fighter types, or whether they're spellcasters, male and female. And then also, you know, there's dwarves and halflings and basically all different types, whether there's, you know, barbarians or whatever it might be. There's a miscellaneous one that's just absolutely filled with, you know, tieflings and other things, that Goliaths and stuff like that. But it's all basically minis that are most likely, if somebody wants to be a player and they don't have a mini, I've got that. Or if I need to create NPCs, I can do that as well. This is NPCs here, but it's more designed for common folk. And again, it's just filmed. I can pull it out here real quick. I hope this video actually comes out okay, because I'm not too sure on the lighting, and I do apologize for that. This one right here is just filled with all kinds of minis for NPCs of various types of guards, various types of nobles and common folk and peasants and things of that nature. And then plus a mix of some strange stuff. This one here has like Dragonborn and a few other things that are thrown in there. This little baggie here is filled with dead NPCs. I get those from Griffin Co. You really should check them out if you haven't. Griffinco, Griffin Co. And they have tons of dead NPCs, and they're really fantastic. You'd be amazed how often you find them to be useful when creating adventures. Instead of just laying, minis down on their side, it just looks so much more immersive. So they're great for that. And then another box filled with just like nature and druid stuff. This one is filled with nothing but dungeon scenery that I can pull out and use. This one's filled with undead, gargoyles, things of that nature, elementals, slimes, trolls. This one here is stuff that I've got for like Egyptian and Aztec and any kind of desert type thing. There's miscellaneous and golems and exiled demonic stuff or whatever. Water elementals, creatures that are just wings, winter only type stuff. It's all in there. And the way that it's organized is I can literally just grab the box that I need and immediately do what I need to do. This one here is filled with a whole bunch of dragons. Underneath is filled with a whole bunch of giants. And that's basically that one wall right there. So that one wall's, my minis here, and then a whole bunch of boxes and stuff for large terrain, and then the other minis that can fit into storage. And then we switch over to the next wall. And the next wall is filled with all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to go through it box by box because it's too much and you can't even get to it all without doing some unburying. But a lot of this stuff right here, smaller stuff, is Dwarven Forge type stuff, like where I've got separated out where it's got large doors or anything to do with LED accessories. This whole one down here underneath is nothing but bookcases, LED walls, again, Egyptian type stuff for that kind of magnetic accessories. So it's all Dwarven Forge and other things slide in under walls. Stuff that I can use that I throw up there to add accents to stuff, to give things purpose, if you will. And then a variety of things. I've got a whole box filled with nothing but various types of rubble. Another box here that's just a small thing that's for farms. Of course, I've got Town and Village here from WizKids. Those guys are fantastic. Dungeon hallways of various types and sizes and angles and stuff from Dwarven Forge. All of my large floors I have here, and I will say this about large floors. That's how I lay out my stuff so quickly, is I literally start with the floors and just lay out large floor tiles. There'll be a room here, a room here, a room here. And I get the floor based out, and then I decide what's going to be in those rooms, and then I start laying out the rest of the tiles, and the details will come into view in my brain that way. But large floor tiles is what basically gives me scale. And when I just lay out the table, the first thing I do after the mat is I start putting floor tiles out, the large floor tiles, and this tells me where the large rooms are going to be and where other things like corridors and things are going to go in between. Aaron Thor Mountain set, I think I got a couple sets of those. The Chamber of Sorrows, that's also Dwarven Forge. Some stuff from Dread Hollow Forest, which is great. Some lava stuff, lava terrain, which of course worked for any hellscape or obviously fire giant or lava type terrain, volcanic terrain. Underneath on the bottom is all sewer stuff. And the slightly larger ones that I have here, like this is underwater. So that's got a whole bunch of like large docks to it and aquarium stuff inside of it that I can just pull out and use to create any kind of underwater or dockside or ocean type adventure. Caverns and stuff, cavern tile sets. I think I have 10 cavern tile sets, 10 of the basic Dwarven Forge dungeon sets. This castle one that I have here is hard foam from Zitterdes, and I have not seen it since I got it, so I can't direct you where to get it again. There is a main website for Zitterdest that makes it, and I love this castle. It's pretty darn cool, but I have not seen it for sale since then. Elevation tiles. This is my dice tray. You guys might have seen that. It's actually a candy dish for Halloween, but because it's got a relatively flat center to it and it's got the skull face to it, I use it as my dice dish bowl for when I'm DMing. It's great. It sets the tone for the players. Stuff for carnivals. You don't see too many stuff for that, so I've got like painted up tents and stuff that would be used in carnivals for traveling bard troops. Stairs and elevation is all set in one. The Dwarven Forge Grand Bridge is there. Underneath that I have WizKids large bridge, which is fantastic. Underneath here I've got two other things. I've got underwater plants, which are aquarium stuff, and then the Ruins of Glendale, which was it was a Kickstarter a long time ago, but basically it's just a nice set of ruins to lay out and looks really good. So there's all those things. Up here at the top, I've got mine shafts, or what I use for mine shafts. What they actually are is 28 millimeter World War II trenches, but if you paint them up properly and put them on the right backdrop, the right map, battle map, they look fantastic. They serve really good, and it differentiates between like a regular dungeon that you're traveling through. You give them the feel that they're actually in the mines because it's got like that wooden floor and the funky sides and stuff to it. And then I got a bunch of XPS train foam up here. Sorry for the glare for that light. One full box that's filled with nothing but winter. Another full box that's filled with nothing but summer. I've got a box of, here's one that most people don't have, literally filled with giant furniture. What do I mean by giant furniture? I mean literally dollhouse 1/12 scale giant furniture, which works almost perfectly with your hill giants, storm giants, cloud giants, that kind of stuff. I always felt it was weird. You'd set up any kind of a giant encounter, especially with the more intelligent giants, the cloud giants, the storm giants, fire and frost giants, and they don't have any furniture. They're in these big rooms, and it didn't make any sense to me. So I did a whole lot of hunting, and you go on Etsy and eBay and stuff like that, and you can find some amazing things. Over here, I've got a few sets of the original Dwarven Forge lava caverns, which I love. The jungle trees, which I have over here, those are great. It's a mixture of things. Some of them I got from HeroScape. Some of them are from 28 millimeter plastic palm trees that I got off a company from on eBay, which was in China or whatever. More stuff. Rocks and fields. And that's what this whole box over there is all large rocks and fields. This box is getting filled up with stuff, which I shouldn't let my players see, but I've got new stuff that's coming. The next two boxes underneath are the remainder of the Dread Hollow Forest. I've got two full sets for those, and those are great. I've got down here, this is one of my most favorite things, and I can't pull it out, but it's resin ice caves from the original Dwarven Forge. I got those from a gentleman who worked from Games Workshop over in Germany, and he was parting with them, and I managed to get 3 full sets. And he shipped them over, and they were in pristine condition. Did a great job, and I'm very thankful because I have used them, and they are fantastic. I absolutely love how they look. And then I have ice caverns over here as well from Dwarven Forge. If we back up, then come over here, this is nothing but large statues, mostly aquarium statues and stuff like that, that I can use to just put different feels to it. The next one up, I've got it literally marked N'Zoth. For anyone who actually played World of Warcraft in the previous expansion, at the end of it, at the end of Battle for Azeroth, I think it was, or whatever, there was a guy taking over from basically the negative material plane, for lack of a better term, and it just had some really cool architecture and floating black onyx obelisks and stuff like that. And so I set to work finding a whole bunch of stuff that would match that type of architecture, so I could have that kind of a crazy experience in Dungeons and Dragons as well. So I've got a full box of that kind of stuff. And then I've got 2 boxes here filled with the Hellscape stuff, again from Dwarven Forge. And this next box up here is filled with stalagmites and stalactites from EC3D Designs. They have a Kickstarter called Skyless Realms, and it's absolutely fantastic. Evan at EC3D Designs is a fantastic guy, really down to earth. And he just makes some of the most amazing things for 3D printing. He really does. If you haven't checked him out, it's really worth your time to go check him out. If you either have a 3D printer of your own or know somebody who can print them for you, it's well worth your time. He really makes only top quality stuff, so it's fantastic. Um, this thing right here is just a box that I have full of potions that have D4 in it. So there's 2D4 for regular healing potion and 44 for greater healing potion or whatever it is, and the players can just literally shake it up and then pull it out, and it rolls a little red dice that give them the healing potion. So that's a thing. This just props for the game. That little orange box is literally just a shoe box, but you'll see on the side I've got it named Adventure Resources. And this is what I fill up with stuff and close up with minis that I will pull out and surprise the players with. I'll have that closed up, and as they go to certain areas on the table, when I uncover it and stuff, especially if they're larger and I wouldn't be able to cover them normally, I'll keep them hidden in this box, and I can pull them out pretty quickly and conveniently that way. So that's, again, I can only move so far back, but that's that section right there. There's other stuff all behind, as you can see there, that I just really can't get to and work the camera at the same time. So like this one here, for example, is primitive cultures. So if there's any kind of like barbarians and stuff like that, I got a whole thing set up for doing barbarians. This one is for brigands, whatever you want to pronounce that as, brigands. And for, just the bad guys that are out in the forest that are waylaying forest travelers or anything of that nature. So, and I just have a bunch of different stuff like that. This here is rivers that I got from Pegasus Hobbies. They're still in business. They still make these rivers. They're great. These two things are not too exciting to looking at right here. Those are just two boxes of various sizes of roads. One is 3 inches and I think the other's 5 wide. That company's out of business, which is a shame because I wish I could have them. More of them. Back inside, more of them. These are, I think there's more desert tiles that I have, if I remember correctly. Aztec, not Aztec, Egyptian desert tiles that are on the back side that are just trapped behind all those. And what I do when I'm building, obviously, I just pull this out and then I get access to it and then I slide the thing back in and it's good to go. So, and then we're going to look at, I'm going to move this over here for real quick. Then we've got a few other things. This big tower right here is the D&D Icons of Realms, the tower from the WizKids. It's fantastic. It's my favorite tower. I love this thing. And the main reason I love it is because it is large enough for you to actually play in. You actually have play area for the characters and monsters if necessary when you're playing. And it is, to some extent, reconfigurable. You can do different things. You make it taller, shorter. You can change the layouts inside of it. So it's fantastic. I just love that thing. It is a little space intensive, that's for sure, but it's great. Behind it, there's nothing there now, but behind it, when my Monster Fight Club Ice Wilds Kickstarter comes in, that's where I'm going to be storing all of that stuff when that finally happens. This one right here is just basically a little keep that I found on, it wasn't Etsy, I can't think of, Wayfair, I think it was. But I found it was on sale, and it just makes a perfect little keep. If you throw some walls around it and stuff, you can just use it as a, what the central keep looks like for inside of a castle. So I picked it up for that. Number of different things besides popcorn. That is actual popcorn there. Woodland Accessories, and I do have the Woodlands resin tile sets from Dwarven Forge. I got 2 of those. Those are great if you're going to run druids. Or any kind of pixies or natural type thing. There's really nothing else out there like it. I know it just says fragile right now, so it's not very exciting to look at, but that's what those are, is the Woodland tile set, and they're fantastic. If you want to do that kind of stuff, I can tell you what, nothing beats those. And some braziers. These 2 guys over here are just temple walls from the Dungeon of Doom, and a whole lot of this stuff is also from Dungeons of Doom, but those are the temple walls, both the corners, and then the straight walls I've got set up, and so I can just pull these 2 boxes and grab whatever I need from there. Above it, over here, is just a bunch of DM resources that I have, whether they're like magic items and spell cards or other miscellaneous books where I write notes and stuff goes there. And then finally I have a shelf over here, not finally, but I have a shelf here that's got mostly literature on it. Most of it is 5e stuff, but there is some other things that I have that are different. I have like an old Dungeon Crawl Classics on there, some old first edition D&D books as well. just for inspiration, and 2 sets of stack trackers. Love those things. If you have not used stat trackers, you really should. Those things are great if you're playing 5e. Those things you hang up, work as great initiative cards, and they have all the information that you need on the back for your monsters. And then there's blank ones as well that you can use to write up for your player characters if you want them to have it. This here is just my little Mimic box. I love it. I use it. It's filled right now with coins of Valoria in it from Dwarven Forge, but it's just my little Mimic box, and I just keep it there for, I think it's a good luck charm. So, and above that, this is my Creatures and Catacombs version 2 book that I have, that I created for homebrew rules. When I ran my first 2-year campaign for D&D 5e, I took a lot of notes for things that I liked and things that I didn't like. And the things that I didn't like, I came up with ideas and ran them by from my other players to see what they thought about them. And then my new campaign that I'm writing right now, we are actually running full version 2 beta of Creatures and Catacombs. It has all kinds of cool rules in there and stuff about how you can push initiative, so that if something bad is going to happen to one of your compatriots and you're too far down in the initiative order, instead of sitting there watching helplessly, let's say you're the cleric, instead of just going, I can't do anything, if you haven't gone yet, you can push initiative, but your chances for everything are halved and your effectiveness is halved. So if you go to cast a healing spell, it's only going to heal for half as much. If you try and cast an offensive spell, then you're going to be casting it at disadvantage. Even if it's a saving throw type base spell, then they're going to be advantage basically at attempting to save against it, because you're attempting to act before you're ready. And so you're less likely to be effective in whatever you're doing. On the other hand, it's a last ditch effort. So that's literally why it's called desperate actions. And there's so many other rules that we have in here, and they're all modular. So you can flip through it and you can get this completely free, absolutely free, on dmsguild.com. Just go search for Creatures and Catacombs and download the PDF. It's absolutely free. And all of the artwork in there, the way that I created it was they're pictures from my actual campaigns. They're all pictures from tables that I've created, and then I just ran it through a filter, so it made it look like it was from like Errol Otis, his style of graphic artwork. Obviously not as good as Mr. Errol Otis never could be, but just an homage too. I thought it'd be a cool thing. If we go up to the next shelf up, we see we have 2 different things filled with town and city type stuff. One has like fragile town stuff, which has like stalls and ports and stuff for merchants and to hang out with, large bookshelves and rooms, and just a variety of different things. These 2 guys over here, they're from Zitterdes also, and what I love about these is I can literally just take these out. If I don't want to build a Dwarven Forge room, I can literally take those out and I just fill it up with the furniture of the type that I need, and whammo, you've instantly got a tavern, you've got a mercenary workshop, you've got whatever it is you want. You could have the inside of a mage tower if you want, whatever you want to fill it up with and call it. Just paint this thing up and it was ready to rock and roll. So, and then the other one is just a little bit smaller version of that. Same basic thing. So I've got those. And I'll leave that there for now. And then there's some, like, I've got some sea monster, and I've got an illithid ship, and some other stuff for mind flayers that are there, which I use for those type things. I've got a couple of siege towers that I use that are actually from Playmobil, a toy company for children. But the scale actually works almost perfectly for 28 millimeter to be scale for, believe it or not, the castle walls that are on from Zitterdes. So they work, and I've used them a couple times, and they're fantastic. And then back over, I've got 2 of the WizKids Falling Star ships. When I first went to get them, I was looking at ships, and the main thing that caught my eye, or that I was thinking as I was looking at getting them, was the thing that people find most exciting about ocean ship adventures is pirates, is ship-to-ship battles. And so I was like, well, if I don't get 2 of them, then what's going to be the point? There's not going to be a really way to do ship-to-ship battle. So 2 of them it was. Ouch, but it turned out in hindsight that that was a good decision, because everybody loves those ship-to-ship battles. They're fantastic. And then lastly, I think we're going to come over here, and what this thing is, I've got literally in a rolling trash can that I've got that has never held trash. That these are my 6-foot by 4-foot mouse mat type, neoprene type mats. for all different types, for winter and summer and fall and desert and cityscapes or whatever it is. And these are neoprene, like they are mouse mats. So I just pull them out of there and they're fine. They don't, they don't wrinkle up or anything like that. So these are great. And I just I put them in this rolling cart so that I could easily roll them out of the way in order to get to and then pull the next thing that I need. Because like I say, this room is a little overstuffed from what I would like it to be. But that helps solve that problem by putting it on rolling carts. And that's how lets that one. And then I'm going to pull this back, and I have another set of mats. The original battle mats that I got are not neoprene. They are vinyl. And again, I have a bunch of like jungle floor and my ocean mats, and I have outer space ones and things like that. I think I got about 30 mats thereabouts total. So those, because they're vinyl, you want to store them straight up. So I literally got regular map holders and the little map holding cart that I got on Amazon, and throw them in there, put some hair ties around them, and whammo, they're good. And that includes this one right here, which is not a map. This is literally just textured window filter that I have. And what I do is I throw that over anything that has water, and it just gives a rippled wave type effect to it. And that just adds a little extra immersion into the experience. So there it is. That's took a little longer than I wanted to, and we still didn't get to everything. But 30 minutes, that's a quick tour basically of how I organize things. All my books in one area, all my cards and DM stuff is in one area, and then my terrain is just basically is well labeled. So if I'm like, okay, I want to do Bard Troop, I immediately come over and I grab the carnival stuff. And if the bards are going to be visiting a farmlands or something like that, whammo, I come over and I grab my farm stuff. And then depending on the type of monsters that I want, I just come over and I grab the case that I need that stores the minis, and I'm good to go. I can build whatever I want and create whatever adventure I want. Setup usually takes for me about 3 hours, 3.5 hours in order to get my tables built. Some of the more extreme ones have taken me as much as 7 hours, but that's a rare thing. And then tear down is usually about an extra hour and a half is what it takes. At the same time, setup for me, though, includes actually designing the adventure, because I'll just start with a rough idea. And then as I'm building it, more ideas, as I'm laying the tiles out, it's kind of a, I don't know what you want to call it, but the two things work together. I can't think of the word, starts with an S, and I'll think of it as soon as the recording's over. But symbiotic, there we go, something like that. Where the symbiotic relationship, whereas I'm laying out the tiles, then that inspires me or gives me ideas for things that I can do. In fact, on my Facebook group, D&D Creative Table Designs, the tagline that I use is "Creativity runs on inspiration." And for me, laying out the tiles, seeing it visually, that gives me the inspiration to come up with new ideas. So that's basically how it works for me. I'd be interested to know what comments you guys have or questions you have. I'd be happy to answer them. And appreciate you taking the time to check it all out. And I will see you again in the future. Thanks, and be sure to like and leave comments. Appreciate it. Take care.